Let's go to Elliot Tepper, an international relations professor with Carleton University. He joins us now from Toronto. Elliot, has this been a successful trip for the Prime Minister for Canada, not just the G20, but even previous?
Yes, we should keep in mind, Marilla, that this is a two-part visit. It's been very successful at one level. That is, our Prime Minister was invited to have a state-to-state visit. That state-to-state visit went very well indeed, mostly. That is, he met the most important political leaders in the country. And by the way, the Prime Minister that he met is coming to Canada this month. So anything they talked about, they can follow through on. He also met the most important business people in the country. He met the most important Canadian businesses there. He raised a lot of the right issues, and he got a lot of leeway on an important one, the canola agreement. It isn't solved, but at least right now they're not using, in effect, a non-tariff barrier to keep out a $2 billion trade agreement with Canada on canola. A success there. However, in the meetings with the Chinese and then in the G20 and the side meetings, no progress at all on consular issues. Canadians who are in jail did not get the kind of support that was hoped for.
Yeah, those are tougher conversations as well. I want to go back to canola for just 1 second, because as you mentioned, it's been delayed but not resolved. Have we put off the inevitable?
I don't know what's inevitable, because just to back up a bit, this is a question right now of the rising and emerging China and also the rise of Asia, and how Canada manipulates and maneuvers and adjusts to the fact that we are in a different world. And this G20 meeting plus the bilateral meeting is emblematic of that. With China, and this is really all about China, you can't live without them, but they're very difficult to live with, and canola is an example of that. We did assist China to get into the WTO, and that's very important. We're always unsure how much they'll actually live up to their obligations, including issues like canola, which should have been handled much more effectively. So yes, canola is a win for Canada for now, and how it plays out in the future is still unknown.
All right, I want to switch to the talk of a ceasefire and the push for a ceasefire in Syria by two of the world's biggest powers, Russia and the U.S. There obviously has been very little progress on a very complicated international scene there. Who needs to lead on this? Is it Vladimir Putin?
Well, Canada is certainly a player there. We shouldn't forget that we're not going to be the one to answer the question you just raised, who's going to take the lead and settle it. But we are definitely involved. We've got people there, and we are training people. We are a player. We're part of the international coalition that the U.S. leads. What's fascinating, Marilla, was what you just said. Is it going to be Putin? Well, what does Putin have to do with Syria? It should be the al-Assad government. But in fact, the Russians have inserted themselves very effectively into the civil war. The people on the ground continue to live in horror because their own government, with the assistance now of the mighty military support of the Russians, are pounding civilian areas, and that has to stop. The Syrian war has to stop in order for there to be any hopes of change. And Kerry is now talking to Putin, not the al-Assad government, but Iran has to be on board. They are really the key player here. They're supporting Assad. Hezbollah has been brought in. So Kerry and Putin now do have to reach an agreement. And unfortunately, relying on the Russians for an agreement is very, very difficult. And I'm afraid this horrible civil war, which has so many ramifications, will continue.
So am I. Elliot Tepper, sir, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you coming in.
Certainly, Marilla.
Take care.